This week, I wanted to make something simple, using only a few tools. Something anyone could make easily in just a few hours, and that's when I had an idea. A friend of mine told me recently that she needed a lamp, and in one day I was able to design, build, and make this video. All of that goes to show just how easy this project really is. This right here is everything you need to build this lamp, starting with these 1-inch square dowels, these 3/8-inch carriage bolts and nuts, a light socket and a cord, a drill, Forstner bits, and a handsaw. Now there are links down below to the exact materials I used and how much, but everything you need for this project is available at the home center. To get started on the lamp, I'll begin by cutting these 3 18-inch pieces for the base. I measured the first cut and clamped another dowel to this piece to act as a cutting guide for my handsaw. This will ensure you get a straight cut with the handsaw. Now you can use a miter saw if you have one, but you don't need one for this project. The type of saw you see me using here is called a pull saw, or sometimes called a Japanese saw, and they're fairly inexpensive. I actually got this one from the home center where I got the rest of these materials. Once you have the 3 pieces cut to 18 inches, you'll need 10 pieces cut to 2 inches each. These act as the spacers between the longer sections of the base. Also note how I clamped the reference block a little off of my line to allow for the thickness of the saw blade, which is otherwise known as the kerf. Once you have all these 2-inch pieces cut down, it's time to clean up the edges, and for this I used a piece of 220 grit sandpaper. Now moving on to the uprights, they consist of 2 vertical 36-inch dowels that support the upper 36-inch dowel that the light is actually attached to. I begin here by marking out the hole location for the carriage bolt that holds this section together. I first drilled a 1/4-inch deep hole with a 5/8-inch bit that allows the bolt to sit flush in the hole, and these larger holes only go on the outside face of the lamp where the head of that bolt sits. Next I drilled all the way through with a 3/8-inch bit which matches the diameter of the bolt. I used the hole location on one lower vertical support to mark the hole location on the other one before drilling. Then I laid out the location of the upper light support dowel and marked the hole location before drilling that one with a 3/8-inch Forstner bit as well. At this point I did a quick test fit to make sure everything was lining up well, and then moved on to assembling the base. I started by marking out the center on all 3 18-inch base sections. Using a spacer block, I marked out the spacing on the bolt holes in the lower vertical supports, again first drilling in a 1/4 inch with a 5/8-inch bit before drilling all the way through with a 3/8-inch bit. And once I drilled through both lower verticals, I placed the center base piece in position and used the holes I already drilled as a guide. The center section of the base is flanked by 2 of the 2-inch blocks, one for each side, with holes drilled down the center to match the holes I just drilled. For the 8 remaining 2-inch base sections, they get a hole drilled on one end like you see me doing right here. I found the center on this first block and used this as a drilling guide for the remaining 8 base sections. I only had 2 of the 7-inch bolts for the ends, so I had to drill out these 7/8-inch holes on the outer longer sections so they can fit around the 5-inch bolt that I had on hand. Just get 3 7-inch bolts and you can totally avoid this issue. And now for assembly, I put together the 2 verticals and the upper lamp support with the 3.5-inch bolt, a lock washer, and a wing nut. Next was the center portion of the base using the 5-inch bolt and 2 of the 2-inch blocks. I secured these with a washer and a nut. And last, it's just a matter of threading the 7-inch bolts on each end through all 7 sections and securing these with a lock washer and a wing nut. With the main structure assembled, I now could mark out the hole locations to thread the light cord through. I marked the first hole 1 inch from the end and then every 2 inches after that. Using a 3/8 inch bit, I drilled all these holes out, and then on the lower verticals, they get holes drilled every 3 inches, but they go through both sides. And after drilling the holes in the first vertical, I transferred the hole locations to the opposite vertical and drilled these out as well. After a little sanding with 220 grit sandpaper, it was time to move on to applying the finish. And for this project, I used a very easy to apply finish. I gave the lamp 2 coats of wipe-on poly. With the finish dry, it was time to thread the light cord through the holes. I got all of the cord, the light socket, and the plug from the Color Cord Company online for relatively cheap. They're not a sponsor, I just like all the different color options that they have, so definitely check them out. There's a link down in the description so you can see for yourself. And whether you order this cord online or get some from the home center, I recommend you have at least 10 feet to work with. After lacing the top section, I laced the cord through both sides of the lower verticals, leaving this cool ladder style pattern. I wired up my light socket following Color Cord's online instructions, and just make sure you're careful with this step and consult an electrician if you're not sure of what you're doing. And last, I screwed in a 40 watt LED bulb, and this light was all done. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Now, this is a project that anyone can tackle in a single weekend. And for free plans and detailed instructions, there's a link to my website down in the description, and it's gonna guide you through this whole process building this lamp step by step. Also, I have this t-shirt right here, some pocket notebooks, and some sticker packs available on my website as well, links down below. And make sure to follow me on Instagram for day-to-day progress pics, and if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with my future builds. Thanks for checking this one out, and we'll see you back here next time.